Hey, welcome back to the Heaven's Metal Video Magazine. Can you believe it's been like probably a year since my last video? Today we're going to dissect issue number 124 of HM Magazine. What's that? Alright, this is the cover with Maylene and the Sons of Disaster on the cover, which is awesome. This band right here called Anne Berlin was supposed to be on the cover. It was a cover story written by Stephen Christian. It's an awesome cover story. I got an email or a phone call or some sort of communication from their manager, Kyle Greiner, I think is his name, and they were doing a photo shoot for the cover of Relevant magazine, and they're like, "Yeah, we're on the cover of HM too." And the editor, Cameron Strang, was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 wait a minute! Sorry, guys, we have an exclusive contract with you guys. If you want to be on the cover, you can't be on any of their covers. It's kind of an exclusive thing." Blah blah blah. So, being the nice guy that I am and the reputation I have, they contacted me and said, "Sorry, Doug, Relevant's got a bigger circulation. Hope you understand," or something like that. And kind of sucked to get on the short end of the stick for that. Obviously, it still stings a little bit, but so be it. And got over it, I guess. Still, it's been years later. I'm still griping about it. It's kind of funny. But anyway, that kind of sucked to get treated like that when we arranged everything first. This is a reader's poll where we announced the winners of this. Andrew Schwab, Me Without You, got favorite album and favorite band. Disciple got favorite live show. It's pretty darn cool. Shows the runners up here. Demon Hunter, favorite album cover. The Triptych had 3 different covers that year. It's pretty cool. Oh, and then speaking of Demon Hunter, Ryan Clark, and then look at Tim McTagg of Under Oath. Look at the favorite bass player was John Cooper. We'll note more of that later. And then Aaron Gillespie, favorite drummer, Under Oath, was just blowing up at this time. This is in 2006, people. And look at this. Skillet and their record company took out an ad to all of our fans at HM Magazine. We're completely blown away by your recognition. You panheads are the best fans ever, so to say thank you, we want to give you something back to you. And this Reliant K album was pretty spectacular. That's the one that had Deathbed on it, isn't it? I'm not sure. Look at that, Maylene and the Sons of Disaster poster. And there's the cover story written by David Stagg, who is the current owner of HM Magazine. Years later, I said, "Hey man, you're an entrepreneur. Do you know anybody who wants to buy a magazine?" He goes, "What? You're selling? Let's talk." So here's the cover story written by Stephen Christian. Awesome cover story, killer photos in this thing. It kind of sucks that they weren't on the cover, but I griped about that already. I'll gripe about it one more time before this episode is over. I'll find a way to come back to it. I'll be thinking about how to do that. Haste the Day. There was a funny story with them. They finally got on the cover right when they were about to break up. They were like, "This is our bucket list of things to do, this, and that." And one of those things was to get on the cover of HM. So kind of had to do that for him. Cool Hand Luke, awesome band, really cool style. Amy Hall. And then we had the hip-hop feature. We started covering hip-hop back in the early 2000s, probably 2003. And look at those Pit Moves shirts. That was fun doing the Pit Moves for a bunch of 6 different Pit Moves. The posters, one of the best things I ever did. 36 Crazy Fists. There's this Coney Waves, an interview with Mark Polton. Wow. Graphic novelist. Album reviews. There's this is a Cities album. That was my favorite Anne Berlin album. Still is. And this Inhale, Exhale, Life in Your Way, Cool Hand Luke, Pivot Plex, Beneath the Sky, All Save Freak Band. There's an old Christian rock pioneer. We used to do this play section. We'd review like about 8 different DVDs. Remember when DVDs were huge? And a couple books, and then also some gadgets. Like these are some PC speakers and stuff, PC games and whatnot. It's Kemper Crab's column. This particular issue, my letters to the Ed section, just gushed about how awesome this column is. And Chris Wigeman and Greg Tucker columns are awesome too. These are kind of devotionals. This one's specifically about Christian and the art. And Pick the Litter indie music section. Which one of these bands blew up big? Sometimes we had some really cool people early on. And you know what? None of these really strikes out as being, "Oh yeah, look at Evanescence before they got signed," or this band or that band. Bless the Fall. Science. It's fun to see the ads years later. Decipher Down. Audix. It's really cool to have gear ads that had like Christian bands in it, like their gear, like microphones and guitars and guitar strings. That was always cool. This is Des Dickerson's son, and that was his band Lenny. There's a Ted Decker book ad. It was always great. And this is Aaron Weiss of Me Without You. Got a picture of him playing the accordion at Cornerstone. This was Shout to the Lord, kind of a psalm put to the back cover. The back cover page was always reserved for the presentation of the gospel. And there's the the Maylene and Sons of Disaster cover. Anyway, there's a little glimpse of the March-April 2007 issue. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll do some more of these. If you like it, you got to give me some comments and say, oh man, I hated that, Doug. Why don't you talk about something real? Why do you have that music playing in the background? Who was that? Do you have permission to use that in the background? What's going on here? Don't ever do this again. Do more of this. Why don't you cover issue number blah blah blah? Stuff like that. Join the discussion.